I'm not the one to fuck around. I mean business. They think that I am a sucker. How you love? They think that I am falling out. Good love, no. Never go numb to the feeling she gives. Never go numb to the feeling I feel. Never go numb to the feeling she gives. Never go numb to the feeling I feel. Yeah.
All right, we'll give it a few minutes. I guess we're still having issues on X. I don't know what's going on with X, man, but they need to get it together. It's been a few days now. It's been like that. I don't know, but we got YouTube here. All right, where are we at? We got a big week ahead. Not too big, but we got data and all that stuff. I'm gonna go over it. Obviously, go over futures here. What's our setups looking like? Hopefully, y'all can see me. It's camera's looking fresh now, right? We got the fresh setup now. Look at that camera, crispy. We got lighting all around here. It's looking good. We're ready to go. All right, let me check X one last time real quick, and then we'll just get it going. We're not gonna wait around. Yeah, I don't know why it's been like that. Yep. All right. How do I share the stream? That's crazy. Here we go. Here we go. Perfect. All right, so let's get into it, guys. All right, so we're seeing futures here, a little bit red, and it's just overnight here. Well, they were kind of green, kind of when they opened out, but now we see a little bit of red, a little bit more selling, a little bit more coming down into this area. And what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to recap kind of Friday, what happened Friday, and then we'll get into kind of that as well. So first play I went with was IWM. IWM was very interesting, right? We're holding these demands, but we're pinned in this area. And the market the market was just very slow kind of at open. But I pretty much played this first 15-minute candle as we kind of kept rejecting this 261, 260 zone. We're just right here. You know, pre-market, it kind of said it all as well. That zone was just having issues there, and right at open, we wicked. As we came back down, I ended up slamming some lotto puts right at the money. And these ended up going over 100%, just dropping straight into our demand there. And I was expecting these to end up kind of breaking that zone and go lower, but took the win on that, kind of sat back and was like, all right, if the market is, or if IWM is going to pull down, the market should be going lower. And so that's where I was like, all right, we have a pretty decent sized gap sitting underneath for SPY and Q. We're flagging. We have this gap down here. You can see it's still kind of shaded. This is an open gap here that we gapped up from last Friday into Monday. Wait, I'm sorry. Yeah, Monday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Or it has to be. Yeah, it was Mondays. What was the sixth? The sixth was Monday. So we gapped up into the sixth was Friday. All right. So we gapped up Friday and we held that all the week. And we came very close on that sell off on Thursday. But that gap is still open. And we came very close on Friday to like getting right next to it. You can see right there. And so I went with SPY calls, pretty much getting bottom ticks, some lottos, and up losing on that trade. All good. Again, we caught some of the most monstrous, moves this week. Thursday sell off, those puts went over 1,000%. We caught this 692 lottos, went from $80 my entry, alerted all the way to 1,100, 1,200 a contract. The day before that, we sold off. So yeah, Wednesday we banked off puts, Thursday we banked off puts. And so we got faked out. I got faked out a little bit. I know the members followed me as well. We ride together, we die together, we make money together, we lose together. We rarely lose, but when we do, it's all good. We stick to our game plans. I stuck to my stops. We hit our stops, and that was it. I could have probably got my entry a little bit better, which was if we rejected that opening high and came down. Regardless, all good. These gaps are below, and these are the gaps I'm going to be like going heavy on, sizing heavy on it, because I know that we should be hitting those. And so we're seeing SPY's down $2 here overnight. We are kind of sitting at the 280 or the 680, I'm sorry, 680 level, just right at this purple level. This purple level is going to be the most important going into this week. We need to hold that level. And if we don't hold that level, bulls are going to have a really hard time when it comes to trying to get to that bounce or upside. So keep an eye on that, that purple level. Under kind of the 678, 677, we're going to eat that gap all the way down to 675, 674. That's a $4 drop. You're going to make money on it, especially if you play some lottos or something. But I like the downside there, but SPY's probably not going to be the first name I go for. I think Q is weaker here. I like Q a little bit better. It's at 599.12. So we're sitting, right in this area right here. And again, we're just knocking on this door of this gap fill below. 598, 596 needs to hold. Under that, we drop under into this gap down to 591, 590 demand. So that's going to be, pretty interesting as well. What I'm going to be looking for. And I'm going to bank off of puts there. So I can't wait for that. That looks like a really, really good setup, and I'm waiting for that. Same thing for IWM. IWM's down $1.66 here. We're sitting at the 261. So pretty much we're already just kind of, I would say, fading this move right here, or already hitting this. And I would say I want to see this lose this and end up losing that 259, 258, coming right down to 255. This will be a lot better move, I think, out of all of them. And I really like this the most because there's a little bit of a daily gap in there, and then it shoots into the hourly gap. So from under 258.30 drops all the way to 255, 254. So that's a $4 move. And on some IWMs, you're getting over 100%. So if I can get, say we lose that 258 and I can get these 255s right now, they're at what? They're at 18 cents, 20 cents at most. Waiting for confirmation under there. I mean, I would expect those to be at like 50, 60 cents, 70 cents. Regardless, I would load up and know that I would get 100% on those easily. So we will see kind of what happens on that. But that looks pretty good for Monday. As far as like other setups like that, again, AMD flagging here, 204. We're sitting in this demand, but again, flagging here, it easily, it looks weak. Looks like we can come down into these gaps and, into these moves. This will be something I'm watching as well. I know contracts are a little bit juiced for AMD, but, we will see. Amazon, not really doing too much after the earnings sell-off. Google, same thing as well, kind of coming down. Same thing for Apple, massive sell-off. RealCap AI ended up catching it on this day. At open, massive sell-off. One of the biggest kind of pullbacks Apple's seen in a minute, and that was a really good move. So, yeah, we got, for as far as like the setups going into Tuesday, right? Let's just see what SPY, QQ, IWM does. Nvidia, nice little channel here, kind of in it, not really paying attention too much to it, but it does have earnings here in like a week and a half. So, there could be some type of interest in that. We'll see. A little bit of flagging for Microsoft there, nothing too crazy. Let's look around. Nothing too crazy, to be honest. Tesla, nice gap down here at 394, 390 area. We're kind of ways from it, but it's always good to kind of understand like where you're at with it. So you never know. Q down now $3, sitting at 598. So we're seeing a little bit more pulling down here into these demands, and we're very close to those gaps. So hopefully they don't hit it overnight. Hopefully they save it for us. We have some interesting data for the week, right? So bank holiday today. Tuesday, of course, tomorrow, nothing. But then we have FOMC meeting minutes. That's nothing crazy. That's just them kind of recapping or just talking kind of on the last meeting that they had about rates keeping the same or cutting them or whatever. So I don't expect much happening out of that. I expect more out of unemployment claims Thursday, so before open there, and then Friday GDP. That should be the two. So Thursday and Friday, those two going to be probably the more, I would say, volatility going into that. So we will see kind of what happens there. Honestly, the only things I'm seeing right now as far as high conviction setups is overnight. We are seeing the selling, but these gaps below. So I'm really curious to see kind of what happens if maybe tough. This is tough. If hopefully they don't eat these, pre-market, and we're not left fighting with the scraps. But if we end up eating these gaps, it's very possible that we end up breaking, those lows through and just kind of creating that lowercase h pattern that we're seeing on a higher time frame for Q and SPY. You can see it right there, just lowercase h pattern, just going lower for that, for that move. So very curious to see kind of what happens. And, if we get that gap in over 100%, I think this is going to be one of those times where I'm just like, let's hold, let's just see what happens. Cause maybe they try and bounce it here and, hold it, or maybe we just get more, selling off and more kind of downside pressure. Cause we've been seeing that the last few days. We've been seeing that pressure. Friday made sense that we just push up in the range because they're not going to continue, to break those lows. And it was before a holiday, and yeah, it was 3-day weekend, things like that. So I think that's probably why we didn't really see that, and I got kind of faked out. Should have been touching laws on a lot of Friday. I should have gone TEQ puts and just kind of sat back and be like, all right, if they squeeze me here, I know likely we're going to get them going into Tuesday. But 3-day weekend, didn't want to do all that. All good. I'd rather stick to my rules. I think we had one. I think that was the only loss we took last week. Maybe another one, maybe. But other than that, it was nothing but bangers. And we were killing it. Like, I was calling it left and right. It was just nonstop. But Monday we came out swinging. We went 3 for 3, like beautiful. So we had a really good week, and it was good. This weekend was good as well. I was walking some properties and real estate. So we're looking for that next investment as well. RioCap still growing, still going. And shout out to trading, because it's all without trading, it would not be possible at all. So if you want my trades, wallet.com/Rio Capital. If you want my levels, if you want to be tuned into the zones, if you don't know what the zones are just pretty much telling you where we are in the market with SPY, QQ, or any name really, right? Green zone buyers, red zone sellers. So you can see, when we get to a zone like that, what happens, sellers step in, we don't go higher. Or if we step in, like Friday where, we opened up above that demand and we retested it with that wick and just pushed right back out. Kind of reflecting on my trade there. I know it was a lotto, and I know, I wasn't going like it wasn't crazy. I front ran it a little bit. I got a little too excited. I saw that gap. I was like, oh, we about to bank some more. Had, two major wins those past, 2 days, and I'm about to make it my third. Just a lot of things going through my mind, and I got faked out. I didn't wait for the confirmation. So tomorrow I will be waiting for that confirmation, and I don't care what the gain is. If I get, only 100%, if I get only, 50%, if I only get, 40% or whatever the case may be, I don't care. Winning and staying consistent is much, much better than, trying to front run and get that 100, 200, 300%. because they're going to come. Like these past few days when we got over 100, 500%, 300%, 400%, 1,000%, it started with us sticking to our rules. And then it just escalated from there. So that's the key I'm going to be looking for going into tomorrow with these gaps and these downside kind of targets. I'm going to stick to my rules. I'm going to and just analyze, right? If it's going really well and we're eating the gap and we fill the gap, all right, let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. I'm going to probably raise my stop aggressively, probably to like 50% on the last, and just let's see if I can get more out of it. If not, then I'll let it stop for 50%, because I know we'll get over 100% on this. So we will see. We will definitely see. I'd much rather put stops by and have skin in the game still than kind of roll down. Even though I'm not against rolling down, we were doing that on Thursday. Didn't do it on Wednesday, but was definitely doing it on Thursday. When you see the pressure, the selling pressure, when it's time to roll down. And I'm in Discord and I'm in members chat, and I'm just letting everyone know when those days, it's time to really be pressing and to really be stepping it up and to really be, doing what you got to do when it comes to, not waiting on maybe anything I need to alert. If I'm just like, hey, puts are working right now, get into it. We're going, we're riding. Of course, you're following my trade, sure, but a little bit of like, hey, guidance. Is this good right now, Rico? Like, if you're looking for another win, I'm always there to help. And so that's the thing. So let's see kind of what happens here now. Say we're playing a little devil's advocate here. Say we do see some upside tomorrow. Say we just kind of erase this kind of overnight bleeding a little bit and we push up. I would say Q above Friday's high or above 607, 606 zone. I would need us to get through that. Even I would say we need to get above that for me to know that there's continuation. Now, we could still win on calls even without breaking that, but I would much rather see us break above that. For Q, I need to see us above that 685 supply zone, So again, I would need to see us kind of break through that and kind of go and start erasing that move from last Thursday. If not, it looking like we're going to see that downside pressure. So IWM, QEQ, SPY my top ones for right now. And then we will see what else sets up for the week. But, holiday weeks, we got to stay a little bit more careful. Like I said, we got the data with Thursday and Friday being the crazier days. Wednesday, probably not going to be too much. It's just the FOMC meeting. So they're just going to be recapping stuff that happened on the last thing. So nothing crazy is going to happen. I would assume, because the next day, Thursday and Friday. So Tuesday is going to be normal price action. Wednesday might be a little bit slower, maybe size down. We'll do a little bit more less. Thursday, if the price action is good, we press. Friday, same thing as well. So we will see how that goes. Exactly. So yeah, we're just seeing some downward pressure here. Q's down $4 now at 597. So we are now inside this demand and kind of near that lows of Friday, and kind of pissing me off a little bit because we're getting close to the gap there, and I really hope they don't hit it because that's something I'm looking for. But we'll see where we open. Likely, if we open up down here, get ready, because if we open up down here, any type of push, short it for that move right back down, because that's likely what we're going to get. So can't wait for that. I'll be live trading in the morning as always. I always live trade Monday through Wednesday. So if you want that, only top members can have that, or only have access to that right now. So become a top member, get my live trading sessions, get all access of what members get. And then, of course, one-on-one mentor sessions with me as well, to work on your trading, to work on your charting, to work on entries, exits, things like that. So pretty cool stuff. And shout out to the YouTube game right now. I am streaming to YouTube, not Twitch, but X. X has been having some issues lately. I don't know what's going on. But YouTube has been holding it down for right now as far as getting the broadcast out. So pretty cool stuff there. I'm glad they did. We will see. Now, I don't know. I don't see the stream on X. I don't see how it usually pops up, but I see it does say that I'm live there. So I don't know. I don't think anyone can see it, even though it says maybe 18 people are there. Usually we're pulling hundreds of people, but that's how I know it's not working, when there's only 18 people there right now. So that's pretty crazy stuff. Can I check Microsoft? I can definitely check Microsoft. I like Microsoft here. We're squeezing here above this 400 demand, 395. This is a pretty big demand, to be honest. If it holds the 400, I would I would definitely be looking at calls as long as we hold and the market's on our side. If it does not hold that 400, right? Because we're under after hours, we're down 399. So we're in this area. Look for that 395.60 move break. If it does, we're coming back down to 390s area. So that's a $5 move. Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty weak since the earnings sell off. Again, nothing too crazy here as far as kind of what you're looking for. Um, Huge gap for the earnings. Yeah, I'm not really trying to poke at or touch any of the sell off on the tech for earnings right now. So that's why I'm sustaining it. I'm keeping it Regal Capital away. I'm just keeping it the Regal Capital, which is just sticking to SPY and QQ, sticking to the Regal Cap zones, sticking. IW1's been working very well, and things like that. So. And anything else, any other gap fills, right? Because Monday morning, this past Monday morning, when I get an alert on a chart alert, it's usually something high conviction, and we played Intel because we ate the gap move. So, break of that 49 all the way down to 47.50 in a flash, like 15 minutes, 20 minutes, did it live. That was a good win. Beautiful. And then we turned around and slammed some NVIDIA calls on that move, from 185 area all the way up to 194. So, we can play up and down as long as the setup is like high conviction, right? As long as we're sticking to our zone, sticking to the Rio cap strategy, and just sticking to where the market is as well. You never want to be playing up when the market is pulling down, right? And you never, like, no matter what the individual name is doing, right? If you're seeing Tesla ripping and the market's pulling down, likely when Tesla's going to get to a breakout level or a near breakout level, or it's already at a breakout level, and it's going to fail that. It's going to be a false breakout. So you got to be understand and spot that as well. So yeah, that was interesting stuff as well. But yeah, good wins this past week. Killed it. Not much to look at here overnight or after hours. Just red, and we have some pretty good more downside to go with these gap fills. So that's the only thing I'm eyeing. There's nothing else kind of setting up that I'm like, ooh, check this out. Actually, there is kind of one of the RealCap members, top members. I was working with him, um, and we actually charted out UNH, so United Health, and it was for the earnings gap. I assume that was earnings, yeah, earnings. And look how it's scooping into this. So we charted it together, and now it's pushing back up and is very close to its earnings gap again, on the daily, and getting ready to looking like push out through it. So this is also something that I might even be watching. He called it out, and I think this is a good thing that we ended up charting it. A little bit of like a V shape kind of push, and let's see if we end up kind of moving. I'm going to be watching if UNH United Health, right? If we end up kind of breaking above like that 299.50 area, break above that, I know we should run to 300, 304, 306 area. That would be exactly what I'm looking for. So I'm just going to kind of keep an alert. I don't really trade it. I don't know how their options are looking at. No, not too bad. Not too bad at all. Yeah, not too bad at all, actually. Not priced super bad. So I might be, watching that. We'll see, just in case. But other than that, we will see what happens with SPY, QQ, and IWM. Really good setups, really, really, and yeah, we'll go from there. Yeah, and that's the part of trading these past like few weeks. I would say just staying patient for I would say your setup, and especially waiting for its high conviction, because there's a few days like Tuesday this past week. Um, was one of those days where it was very choppy, and I was like, let's sit back. We got our win. I was like, sit back. Likely it's going to be kind of choppy, and learn to avoid those. Learn to sit back on those days and not, kind of press it in that move. That's the that's the best thing I could say. So we're going to be looking for those specific days, and it's possible that maybe Wednesday could be one of those days. It's possible that, I don't think tomorrow's going to be one of those days. I think Wednesday will likely be the highest, I would say, probability of one of those kind of make your money, sit back, do less kind of days. And then Thursday and Friday will be a little bit more volatility, a little bit more movement, a little bit better. Maybe zone to zone, move to move. If you're a Rio Cap member, zone to zone, stuff like that. We'll see. We will see. And now that I'm looking at this for NVIDIA, I like this, but let's just play around with it for a minute here. What happens if I do that? What if I do that? That was a little bit interesting right there. Now this could be a falling wedge, and it's very possible that we could see something, like this where it kind of holds down on that purple level and then ends up pushing back up maybe into this area, maybe, gets that move back above this last week's highs. I don't know. Pretty interesting, but just to kind of, I guess, touch on that is just, Nvidia is only down 75 cents here after hours, so it's showing a little bit more strength than maybe some of the rest or even in the indexes right now. So, that's telling me, and, when we sold off on Thursday, Nvidia did not want to pull down. We were talking about how much it was holding. It was holding this area after we played it Monday. It was holding this area the whole week. It did not want to pull down. Market ended up obviously selling off, and so it had to follow suit. But notice how it's only down, 60 cents right now. I think this will be a name that I look for if SPY QQ see some upside, or maybe we see a little bit of buyers step in. Then I will look for something like that, to where whoever's the stronger name I'm going for, because they're gonna have more push behind it, and that's the best thing. So look for stuff like that. And don't be looking for weaker names to try and long, right? That's kind of a misconception, or I think a lot of people end up, I would say, making the mistake of just looking for that like weakness to long. Like, every name is green, and let's say Apple's red, and you're like, oh, Apple has to join the fight, has to turn around, so I'm going calls on Apple. Why would you do that when maybe Amazon's ripping faces that day and you could make money easily just following it? So again, mindset, keep that in mind. This week for me, I'm going to name this week as a week of focusing on nailing the entry, because that's exactly what I did all this past week, and it was such a good week. Puts banging all into end of week, calls early into the week. Played a lot of those names. Gap fills, yeah, just waiting for the confirmation. That's it. Waiting for the confirmation, sizing up on the right trades as usual, sizing down on the wrong trades or the riskier trades that we know, is kind of trades. And then of course sticking to stops, right? We did really well like this past week. Like I said, one loss, two losses, maybe, all stuck to our stops, 30% stop. The rest of the plays all went over 100%, all went over 200, 300%, whatever the case may be, right? Some of those plays we got in and, already up 30% in like a minute or two. Like those are the Rico Cap plays. We're catching those hourly blasts, right? Those hourly blasts like this, whether if it's up or down, right? We catch it regardless. QQ with, that Thursday being like one of the best ones. And, we didn't expect that Thursday to be as great as it was. We woke up, we saw a little bit of a gap up, right? And I was just like, all right, don't trust the opening push. It's just short the opening push. We're going to pull back down in the range. We're going to eat that gap, and we'll take 100%. And then of course contracts going over 1,000%, 1,200%, 1,300%, $80 going into $1,200 is absolutely insane, absolutely insane. So you never know when those days come. They just come as long as you stick to your rules. And so we're going to stick to the rules, stick to the recap rules, stick to the zones, of course, stick to our gap fills and the high convictions, and sit back when we don't see anything else. That's it. I alert and I take about 1 to 3 trades max, unless a day max, unless it's like we're pushing it, unless it's like the getting is good and you need to just, hit it. And even then, like still 1 to 3 trade, or like 3 trades on a day where like Thursday, we're selling off nonstop, making money nonstop. Over 3 trades, it's like you're not capturing a bigger move, right? If we took 1 to 2 trades and we were capturing the whole move, we didn't need 3 trades, 4 trades, 5 trades if we're capturing the whole move. But there's no such thing as capturing the whole move unless you're just like, cowboying it and you're just just holding on for the ride. Whatever happens, you get bucked off, or if you, make a bag regardless, it's how it goes. So we'll see. We'll see. All right. Anything else? Questions, let me know. Y'all can type it on the YouTube. If not, I think we're good. The setups are good. We're ready to go. I know we're gonna bank tomorrow. So follow me on X if you're seeing this. This is Rico Capital on X, Twitter, whatever. Type in Rico Capital. You'll find me. Follow me there. Hopefully the stream could start working better on X, but we are streaming, and I know they're able to see this as well. So all good, all good. Awesome. All right. So we got some good setups. We're going to stick to it. Game plans are all posted for members. We got news and all that. So If you want to join the team, wap.com/Regal Capital, join, sign up overnight, be ready for the morning, be ready for this next week. I'm telling you for weeks, guys, telling y'all that, we've been banking. So that's, you gotta be following. Come on now. Can we talk about sizing and stop loss? How much do you trim from the position again? Sizing and stop loss. How much do I trim from the position? So it all depends, right? If it's a gap fill like this, I'm trimming. I'm probably doing about 4 trims at most, right? 25%, 25%, 25%, 25%. Now, if it's a smaller gap in like, I'm trimming, if it's a smaller gap where it's like $1 or two or something, and I know I'm probably gonna get like 50%, 60%, I'll probably do 2 trims. Or I'll just, or it, depending on like if this is gonna be a big trade like this, I think tomorrow, if we open up and we short and we get a good entry and we come down to the gap, I'm probably gonna just try and let it ride and fight me trimming and just say, hey, we're playing a bigger move here, the hourly into a gap. Wait for it to fill the gap, wait for it to hit the zone, and then sell all, or maybe sell all and have a few stops above buy, and just let's just see what happens, right? Let it play out so you don't get FOMO or anything like that. That's the best bet. So I have a lot of rules, not a lot of rules, but I have a whole list of rules in the Discord. Only members can see those. But yeah, trading rules. Good question. All that. Yeah. So we will see. We will see what happens. If you're on a smaller account, I would probably suggest sticking to the higher conviction moves and not even trimming, but waiting for zone to zone or target to hit, and that's where you sell all and then sit back, take the win, and build that way. Just build that way. There's no like keep trying to play, no, you got to be a sniper with me. Every day we show up, we make our money, sniper shot, we sit back. Don't care if we made $100, $200, $50, $5, whatever it is. We keep sniping. We keep looking for our opening moves that are the hourlies, blasting up or down, and we grow the account that way. That's it, because your money's going to run it up fast. You stick to the rules. So that's it. That's all you got to do. That's all you have to do. Hardest part is waiting and things like that. So that's it. That's it. Yeah. All right. Yeah, we got the crispy we got a new camera, new setup, new everything. Oh man, it's looking good. Stream's looking good. Ooh, looking real good. All right. Any more questions? Let me know. If not, game plans are set up. Spine keyword red here after hours. Let's see. Don't be scared of downside tomorrow, guys. If we get that continuation downward, do not be scared, because we have gaps below that are gonna fill. So trust the move, and don't be scared, because we definitely they're definitely gonna bank, because if we get them, then it's gonna be one of those where like, oh, I should have just did it. I was scared a little bit. No way. This is what I'm looking for tomorrow. We will see kind of what happens there on that. So ready to go. 46. Yeah, ready to go. Yeah, we'll see what it does going into tomorrow. Our TUQ is very close to the gap as well. So yeah, we got these moves. Let's just hope, pray that going to sleep and hope they don't close it overnight, or they gap us down or something like that. So this is going to be a little bit tough. This will be tougher, because if we open up, say where we're at right now, technically we are getting a daily gap down, and then we're going to have another gap below it. So it's possible they push up to fill the daily gap, then come down. It might be interesting. So I really hope that we open up red like $1 or two, and then we get that move. So we will see. We'll see. All right. Appreciate y'all showing up, guys. I'm done for the night. So let's see what we have going on, and let's see what happens. Let's make some money for the week. Fresh new week. It was a holiday week, but it is going to be a shorter week, but it's all good. We got money to make, so let's run it up and do it again. Anyways, all right. Appreciate y'all showing up, guys. Have a good rest of y'all's evening. Get some rest. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Let's make some money, guys. I'll see you guys later.